I call to order the Adrian City Commission meeting for February 2nd, 2026. If everyone would please rise for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Heath,
Present.
Commissioner Roberts,
Present.
Commissioner Zeik,
Present.
Commissioner Banky,
Present.
Commissioner Moore,
Present.
Commissioner Schwartz,
Present.
Commissioner Chesser.
Present.
All commission members present.
May I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Roberts with a second from Commissioner Schwartz. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Zeik,
Yes.
Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz.
Yes.
Commissioner Chesser.
Yes.
Mayor Heath.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving on to our public comment. This is public comment regarding items on the agenda. Just to reiterate, you have a 3-minute time limit, and for the record, please state your name and place of residence. We will begin inside the city chambers first. When we have exhausted all public comment inside the chambers, we will then open it up to the Zoom participants. Once again, this is regarding items on the agenda. We will begin in the chambers now.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Brett Berger. I'm the owner of 1212 West Maumee, which is on the agenda for later. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. We are requesting approval to use 1212 West Maumee Street as a small private counseling office, either through special permission use or by rezoning from R1 to RO. The proposed use would operate within the existing home and maintain its residential character. This request aligns directly with the city's comprehensive plan of growing small businesses. West Maumee Street is identified as a transitional corridor intended to evolve from strictly residential use to a mix of low-intensity professional, institutional, and residential uses. The RO district was created specifically for this purpose, allowing professional offices in residential scale buildings. Our proposal supports adaptive reuse, corridor reinvestment, entrepreneurship, and community serving services. The counseling office will be low impact and neighborhood compatible. We will retain a residential exterior, operate by appointment only, use interior waiting only, generate minimal traffic, and produce no exterior noise or commercial activity beyond the normal schedule. This use is equal to or less intensive than any of the uses already permitted and approved in residential districts, such as churches, daycares, other counseling offices, or nearby businesses like Trend Salon. There's also a documented need for this type of use. Adrian has very limited RO and small-scale commercial properties for entrepreneurs. Over the past 2 years, only 28 commercial or business zone properties were sold citywide, and just 6 were remotely close in size, most of which were already restaurants or priced far beyond what a small entrepreneur can afford. This location provides reasonable and appropriate opportunity to meet a growing community need. We've heard concerns regarding safety and traffic. This is an outpatient counseling office, not an emergency facility. It primarily serves young and middle-aged women dealing with everyday life stressors. Studies including research from Johns Hopkins, shows that mental health offices often have a stabilizing effect on neighborhoods, not the opposite. Regarding traffic, city police reports show that of 507 accidents citywide last year, only 3 occurred on West Maumee between Madison and Charles, demonstrating that this area does not experience abnormal congestion or traffic safety issues. The committee's primary concern centered on the potential range of future uses allowed under our zoning. We appreciate the intent behind that concern. However, It is important to note that these permitted uses are defined by the city itself, following careful planning and policy analysis with the understanding that they are appropriate within residential context. If the commission believes additional assurances are warranted, we are open and eager to work collaboratively on creative alternatives, including special use or contractual agreements. These tools will allow the city to retain control and certainty and fully align with the comprehensive plan.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brett, you can come back up. You can continue. The city attorney okayed it. Go. The city attorney said you can go on.
Oh,
Pass
thank
the
you.
time limit. Go.
So just the end, this request meets all of the review criteria. It complies with the comprehensive plan, protects reasonable property use, preserves neighborhood character, generates minimal impact, and strengthens access to essential health services in today's world. We respectfully ask you for your approval, creativity, and we are more than happy to answer any questions regarding this issue, as I know you've already received notice from the Planning Commission. So if there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer those at this time.
Burke said we can ask questions. Yes.
Because we're not having a hearing during. Sorry, we're not having a hearing during this meeting. If you want to ask questions, it's okay because you have a decision to make.
So my question is, you'll be living in the residence in addition to the business taking place, or it's just a business within a home?
Just a business within a home.
Okay, thank you.
Have you looked at any buildings downtown Adrian that are vacant to move your operation there?
Over the last year and a half that we've looked at, nothing fit what we could afford for the size of what an entrepreneur can afford at this time, and to keep it as a pleasant counseling office experience. So no, nothing has been available over the last year and a half of our searches.
What do you anticipate the number of clients and traffic in that area?
There are 6 bedrooms in the house right now, probably 3 to 4 counselors, and usually the average is about 5 to 15 a week that you would see between each counselor. So once again, they're on the similar schedule of just an hour. So a day, anywhere between maybe 5 and 20, 5 and 15 a day.
I think of Parkside Family Counseling, which is over by Tip Top. And I know the Planning Commission extended that to include where it was residential, the house next to it. They purchased that and that became part of their facility. So that expanded. Now, the only difference is that there's that little commercial kind of sector there in that area. Where this is right now, I believe both houses, there's residential houses on both sides of that.
Next to us is a vacant lot owned by the church and then the daycare, which both are included in the residential zoning, which in the future, neither of them would really be turned into homes. So if the daycare left or the church left, we'd be left with open properties that would be more similar to an RO zoning requirement.
Gotcha.
than a
Okay, I
residential.
was thinking you were 2 over from where that was. So you're the red house?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So yeah, that changes a lot then in my head that there is that open lot that's, and there's the church right next door to that then as well.
The church behind it and the
Yeah.
daycare right next to it. Yes.
Because my concern with that compared to the difference of Parkside, there is some street parking that takes place. And I know in the driveways, it's tight with kind of the rotation of who's in and who's out and that sort of stuff. How do you foresee parking being addressed, when there's no parking, and making sure that people aren't parking over on University and trying to run across Maumee and that sort of thing?
So the driveway does wind all the way to the back. And obviously, if we were granted this permission and able to use as that, we would then create a larger area in the back to fit everybody.
I have attended all the planning commission meetings. I met with the Burgers, previous to them attending, planning commission meetings as well. And, went into the home and, looked at it, and I could definitely see it as a counseling, um, as a counseling center. I will tell you though, that from attending the planning commission meetings, I understood a lot more of why they decided to vote against it. And that is because they are very concerned, and I've spoken individually to the majority of everybody on the planning commission as well, because I wanted their explanation. But it is because the spot zoning is concerning, because the minute they really try to avoid spot zoning, because the minute that they spot zone, eventually they're going to sell that. It could turn into anything in that business district. It could literally turn into a Walgreens. Not that I think it would, but maybe they'd buy the land next to it or not. And that is their concern. So I've heard all of those concerns as well. And I felt very caught on this, because I thought, well, this is different. It's a counseling center. It's in a home setting that's very inviting. But I also do see that side of what the planning commission is saying about the concern with that spot zoning. Another thing I brought up originally, right after I met with Burgers, I did actually talk to the planning commission at one of their meetings and asked them. And they said the reason that the church can sold, and it can be that daycare now, is daycares, religious organizations, and there's one more. There's one more that does not, that can be in a residential, because they want, maybe it was schools.
Schools.
It was
Churches and schools.
Yeah, they want you to be able to, like, children can walk, or that it's accessible within your neighborhood to have a daycare or a religious organization or a school, so that you can walk to it. It's accessible to houses. And so that's the reason that business can operate right there, that it's because it's written in that way, that is the reasoning for that. I know the other concern that was brought to me by the chair was that if they rezoned that area, it is that open parcel that now would be open to RO, which can be a big concern as well, of what can go in there, and what this could turn into when it is highly residential. I was at the last planning commission meeting, and heard the concerns of neighbors. I don't necessarily think that their concerns that they have right now would necessarily they were more concerned with they're renting it out right now to tenants, and that was more their concern. I don't really think it would be as much of a concern with it being a counseling center, but they are worried about that traffic and people pulling out of Madison, and they've almost had a bunch of accidents there. It is right near the intersection, right where this comes out at, University's going one way and Mommy's coming one way and Madison's coming into it. So it is kind of a disaster right there a little bit. And I've seen that before. And I know that was the concern of the residents. That wasn't, the planning commission didn't bring that up. But like it's been expressed, I mean, it's not going to be like in and out all the time. It's not like going to be like fast food restaurant where it's in and out. But I'm just giving you all the information, because from me attending these planning commission meetings and meeting with them and trying to listen and understand the spot zoning and why they made this decision. And I just have to say, as much as I would really love to see this counseling center be there, and I think it is very, very, very needed in our community. I have that same concern now that I have found out what the spot zoning can do, that does worry me quite a bit.
Could I address
Yeah.
that?
Go ahead.
As for the traffic numbers currently showed that there is not a lot of traffic issues in that area. With 6 college kids renting it out, you're probably gonna have less traffic as a counseling office with coming in and out with classes, athletics, and other social events. As for the Walgreens, if it's residential office district, the intent is to preserve residential character while allowing professional and business service to be used in residentially designed structures. So it will be looking like homes. So no one's gonna build a large store that requires that. It would be a hair salon or counseling office type of atmosphere to preserve that. So the traffic, if you're going, also in the if we are thinking future issues and uses, they are all designed to be residential office uses, to be in residence looking structures, but also to really consider that daycare and that church. If those organizations leave those facilities, what are we going to do with that? Because they are zoned residential. And I don't know many families that would afford it or move into that to live in. So this would be the actual sole use of residential is between the rest of the street leading down is residence, then going over to the daycare, the church, and Nob Hill, and all the commercial properties. So it's really exactly, I believe, what it is intended for, and a good opportunity to set that up for the future, so we don't have these blighted properties in case we did even look at a church on the other side of town, just doesn't work for what we would need. It's also been on the market for almost 300 days because it's a church in a residential area. So it's just going to stay there until another church really wants to move in or gets rezoned.
So that property, 1212 West Maumee, if Mr. Berger wants to open a child daycare program, he can do that tomorrow.
Yeah,
So we could have that in terms of a change, we could have more traffic because parents are dropping their kids off all around the time of school drop off and pickup. And that could would not alleviate the concerns of the neighbor without that piece. And we have the opportunity, when I look, we have a daycare in the property, one skipped over. We have an eyeglass place. We have Postal Plus. We have a gas station. We have Acusure. We have Tangles, the Community Foundation, and Jimmy John's, all within a quarter mile. So, I understand, serving on the county planning commission for a number of years. I understand the concept of spot zoning, but I also look here at the fact that the property behind it is not only a church, but now it's also a food pantry. So the amount of traffic that's on these areas, this is a progression, I think, and I guess I would say I support the expansion of, we can have schools in our neighborhood that we can walk to. We can have churches that we can walk to. We can have daycares that we can walk to. I would support walking to community mental health facilities as well.
I couldn't agree more.
I just think, we have zoning ordinances for a purpose. And we have people who sit and volunteer for the city who looked in depth to this for a purpose. So what I'm saying is I don't want to discount what was recommended to us. I think, if we look through our packet, we could see some of the reasoning and things that they had. And so we need to value that. Yes, could a daycare go in there? Could a school go in there? Those types of things. Yes, it could. But when you change zoning in a neighborhood and we become a place where, well, just change this and change this because it works now, what happens when it doesn't work? And I'm not going to bring up a Walgreens or whatever. It doesn't work. And all of a sudden that's a different zoning. And then that changes completely from what it's at. And I think we need to, when we build a strong community, we need to build neighborhoods. And when people buy homes and they've been there for 30 years and they have a concern, that's a value. And what happens if it changes? Not saying it will, but you never know, your business could go well, could go poorly. We have to consider the neighborhood and what it can and can't do. And so while I do believe we need more mental health than we probably ever done in our history, I think we need to be very, very cautious about just making changes and changing what could be an atmosphere of a neighbor. And yes, there are things down the road a quarter mile, but they're not right there.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I also understand we can do a lot of what ifs. The RO still is permissible for residential. So just because it is RO doesn't mean it's businesses for all of time. And as we point out, it's right there next to businesses. And it would be a reduction, I believe, in traffic and noise from the daycare. So any other questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will continue on with public comment regarding items on the agenda inside the city chambers.
Good evening, Robert Trevino, City of Adrian. Just to follow up with Mr. Berger, I've known him for over 20 years and, he could have chose anywhere to put this business. He lives here in the City of Adrian with his wife and kids. And, I understand the zoning commission has their ways, like, Mr. Schwartz said, but there is different options there that they can look at. You talk about a family could just buy the house and could have 5 or 6 kids like yourself, Miss. You have a lot of traffic, couldn't you? If your kids had your friends coming over, that's probably going to create more traffic coming and going than a person that comes in for an hour and leaves an hour later, making it sound like it's a business, like a fast food. And that's not true. And I understand the spot zoning, but we have someone here that wants to invest in Adrian, an entrepreneur, to make it better. I mean, he's only in his early 40s. He's not leaving. I mean, so you're acting like he's gonna open it up and sell it immediately. So take that in consideration.
Hearing no more public comment inside the chambers, we will now open it up to the Zoom participants regarding items on the agenda. Hearing no public comment, we're going to move on to proclamations. We have a Black History Month proclamation. This proclamation will be displayed outside the mayor's office on the first floor of City Hall. And there is a display that is also set up there as well, and it will be added to that. Whereas the NAACP has led the struggle for freedom and equality for all Americans for over 90 years. And whereas, as a result of the efforts of the NAACP, the barriers which have long divided people along racial and religious lines have been torn down. And whereas, as a result of efforts of the NAACP, the city of Adrian has become a better place for all of its citizens to work, study, learn, and live. Now, therefore, I, Angela Sword Heath, Mayor of the City of Adrian, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2026 as Black History Month, and call upon all people of goodwill and lovers of justice to join me in reaffirming our support of the Lenawee County chapter and the nation's oldest and largest civil rights organization, the NAACP. Moving on to our informational discussion topics, we are going to start out with snow emergencies and removal, and I will turn it over to our city administrator, Chad Baugh.
Thank you for this opportunity. It allows our Director of Engineering to come up. Matt's going to present to us. Maybe one of the most important things is to have a discussion. That's why we call it a discussion. That's why it's on the agenda is the same. And it's to provide not only transparency, but a good communication about the expectations that's set forth through our ordinance. So thank you. If you would, Matt.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I've been asked to talk about snow emergencies and snow removal process. And I've just put a blurb together based on some of the frequently asked questions that Michelle gets on Facebook. So just to try and get some of the information out. A snow emergency is declared by the city administrator with the help of city staff based on forecasts that show when snow or ice may hinder the proper removal of accumulated snow and ice from city streets. Snow emergencies could be called based on the length of the storm, the amount of snow and ice projected, if we have multiple storms back to back, or just when deemed necessary to clear the streets effectively. During a snow emergency, there shall be no parking or standing of a motor vehicle on a public street, even if you have a parking permit. If found doing such, the owner or person who is in control of the vehicle is subject to fines and costs associated with removing the vehicle from the street. The police try to notify the vehicle owners, but if unable to, the vehicle may be towed at that time. When we are out plowing, we have 86 miles of roads to plow. The order we plow in is state routes first, which include M34, M52, and US 223. Then we focus on our major streets, our local streets, and cul-de-sacs and alleys. During events that happen after normal working hours, our priorities are strictly intersections, trunk lines, and our major streets. Our downtown snow removal process is usually the day after, dependent on the severity of the storm. And we work with DDA to ensure that the parking spaces are opened up wide. And beyond that, if you guys have any questions or would like some more information, please feel free to discuss at this time.
I guess, I received a few, I don't know, I don't think they're complaints, just, information from different citizens that were just concerned that it didn't seem like all vehicles were being removed from the street, and maybe this is something that Vince could speak to, I'm not sure, but, you know, they were just very concerned about the amount of vehicles that were still in the streets in certain areas. They felt like it might have been, this area, we're going to get the vehicles removed, but maybe not this area. We're going to make sure to get their vehicles removed. And there was just concern over that. And, you know, we've tried to say, like, you know, you need to contact the police. You need to let them know that these vehicles are still there. They're busy and it's snowing hard, and there's probably accidents that they're also dealing with and other issues that are going on. I guess just, you know, I don't know what to say back to that. You know, when they say that there's certain areas that are not, the cars were not being towed and they had been or removed. And they said they had contacted the owner, and of one of them I had the complaint with, that they contacted the owner and the owner said, they won't do anything to me. I'm leaving it. I don't care. So, that is why they contacted me personally. So I don't know. I didn't know where to go with that. I didn't know what to tell them, but I said I would make sure and bring it to the attention.
Good, Mayor. Would you mind coming up, Vince? We can explain a little bit. The one thing I noticed, which is wonderful coming to this community, it's just like where I came from, it's compliance based. The goal is not to tow everyone's vehicle, but at the same point, please do not rely on the police tracking you down and ask you to come outside your house, put on your boots, because just like the mayor said, there's a number of things that typically go on during a day of a police officer. Then when you throw snow into it and having a snow emergency, they may not be able to locate you in time before they have to tow the vehicle. If you would, you can just explain about, I know there was a high number of vehicles that were towed this time around compared to some days.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. We do our best real quick to try to locate the person. Downtown's a great example. If someone parks on the street, they run into a building, if we can figure out who that is and where they are, we'll try to get them out of the way. We don't have a lot of time to spare on that stuff. In our first major snowfall this year, we had something like, I want to say it was 18 crashes in a matter of 2 hours. So we were kind of bouncing around. So when it comes to that, if it's possible, we'll do it as a courtesy. If not, we're going to have it towed. We'll have them in the past. Matt, help me with my memory here, but in the past, we've had them move from one city lot to another. So it's not necessarily impounded, so to speak. The person can come out and get in their car, but we have gotten away from that because that space isn't always available, because somebody has to pay for that tow when we're required to drag that car out of the way. So we've gotten away from that altogether. If we can find it fast, we will. Don't count on that. If we don't, we're going to tow it.
Chief, did you rely on people contacting you about if there were vehicles on their streets, or were you out actively looking? Or Matt, did your snowplows like say, hey, there's a bunch of, cars still on the street on Mommy, or not Mommy, that would be a bad example.
Yeah, so we kind of work together in this aspect. Our truck drivers are out obviously plowing the streets. If they see there's a lot of cars in the way that create a hazard for us, they will make a call to the police and try and get them towed. But as soon as we go through, we're not hitting that street again for another couple hours at least. So
Right.
by the time we get the call, or by the time we make the call, it won't be touched again for a while, so.
Little bit of both. Mainly we rely on Matt and his people, and then if we get citizen complaints, we'll go out there too.
What's the city policy for residential that live downtown, use the parking lots downtown, or parking on the streets? Is there a policy where they're supposed to go for a snow emergency? Does the city provide a location for those automobiles?
They are allowed to park in our downtown parking lots. They are not allowed to park on the streets. So any downtown business and resident is allowed to stay within the parking lots and not get ticketed or towed.
Well, thank you. I know it was a lot because a lot was happening with the weather and it just wasn't ending. And I know that both your departments, but all the departments, utilities, there were water main breaks going on. There was, fire was being called out too. I know all your departments had to do a lot of work during that time. And, I was seeing, I saw the plow come through my neighborhood because I'm one of the last neighborhoods. I saw mine come through at a really crazy time. So I know that they were out working hard like all night. And just thank you so much. And it is greatly appreciated how much all your departments do, how much work you do when we're in times like that.
Can we have Matt talk about the downtown area when it comes to plowing? So coming back from New York last week where there was a 3-foot wall of snow down the streets, you weren't able to get over that if you got off of a bus or something like that. So how do we attack the downtown streets? Because I know in Tecumseh, I've seen where they come in with a front end loader and lift it out and put it in a dump truck to remove it rather than let it pile, which then creates problems for, okay, I'm out of my car, but now how do I climb over the hill to get to the business or get to another location or find a safe spot?
Yeah, so the sidewalk is the responsibility of the property owner to plow and keep clear. We work with the DDA to send out notices that the Public Works is coming through the next morning. But what we ask for is that the property owner pushes all the snow out to the street. That helps us tremendously. We pick it up from the curb line, and as you can see out there, there's a little mound this big on the curb at that point. But really, it's just trying to get the property owners to push all that snow out into the street, and it's all about coordination.
But so where I live, I'm not allowed to put the snow in the street.
Correct. Yeah.
So that is an exemption of the ordinance and that's allowed, or is that a problem where our business owners are now violating the law?
Well, the business owner is responsible for the sidewalk, not there's a space between the sidewalk and the street. Technically, no, they're not supposed to throw it in there, but I don't think anyone's ever been ticketed for doing that downtown.
Because my concern is, so now as you come through, and we all know the aftermath of a snowplow pushing it up onto the sidewalk. And again, that's the aftermath of the snowplow. So I shoveled it as a business owner and then it got plowed back in and it just happens to stay, I would think, in 80% of our businesses downtown.
If just from the city administrator standpoint, oftentimes it's what discussion items do. They bring to light what practices as opposed to policy and what the ordinance is. So it's a good point. So we're going to have to resolve it. We have a lot of work to do with the DDA too. Like we said at the last meeting, that is our welcome mat. And we have some work to do on that as it relates to all things from the enhancement grant to this conversation. We're certainly focused on where we're going from the rest of this year and next year.
I think too that when you own a business, it's not always just the convenience for you. I mean, sometimes you have to do things that are difficult. I mean, I kind of in jest, after you shovel your driveway and you get it all cleaned out and then the snowplow comes, well, then I got to go back out. Well, I don't do it anymore, but we have to pay the man to come back out and clean the driveway again. It's the responsibility. If you want people to be convenient in coming into your store, and you're a business owner, to make them welcome, you have some responsibility to do that. Yes, it's not just the sidewalk, it's that area in front. And if you want to make it easy for your people to come in and buy your things, to make your business successful, I think that would be a duty that they would like to focus on too.
Matt, I believe the city does clean all entrances to the sidewalk though, correct?
We clean all the ADA ramps. Yes, that's correct.
So that's access, but there is that small part that you're talking
Right.
about.
Well, and that would be questionable because I've had to notify the city administrator at times when handicap spaces weren't removed. But, you know, again, it goes back to, so now as a city, we plow, we push all the snow onto the sidewalk. And then as a business owner, I now need to clear that. So that's during 10 o'clock. So Matt's car is parked there. So then I'm going to shovel the snow off the sidewalk and throw it into the street on a resident's car. So I can get the snow off of the sidewalk in front because I need to clear the sidewalk is what we're talking about. And we're saying that we need to put the snow into the street so it can be clean. But if there's cars there because of its normal business hours, now we're creating this catch-22 is what I'm saying.
You know, I was on the commission way back in the nineties and it was a problem then. You have a business downtown, it's a problem. There's no place to put the snow unless you haul it away.
Right.
And we don't
I
have
think
the
maybe that's the
resources as a
discussion.
city.
Yeah.
I don't think we have the resources as a city to buy the special trucks and things like that. So what you do and what happened back then is people would find areas of convenience where they could make a pile and not a pile all the way along. They would go back, dig through, set it on a pile. So there were open spaces from the roads into the business. Yes, it's hard, but your business is downtown because that's a profitable place for you. Or it should be that, because that's why you opened your business. So it's going to take a little more work than just the residents. You got to figure things out and work together. The important thing is the discussion here allows us to work together with businesses downtown. And I'm sure Tiffany's had to go through this with her business, you know, downtown, Chip with his business downtown. I mean, it's nothing that the people on this commission aren't dealing with.
Yeah. Well, and I have a business downtown too for the next several months. And I guess what I would say is that people are also paying a premium to the DDA for services as well. So what's the result there?
And I'm thinking the reason that you had set that up maybe in the past, and it might not have been you, it might have been something you inherited where they were told to put the snow into the street is probably because I do remember, and it was quite a few years ago, but we had mountains of piles of snow downtown and it was an issue. So I'm thinking it was to not have that happen again. And by pushing it out there, at least, you know, yes, it might come back up, but that happens like Commissioner Schwartz said, that happens to the driveways. My father-in-law's driveway, where he's at, it gets completely plowed back in every time the plows come through. But I think that it was to do that, to avoid these mountains of snow downtown because nobody has any place to go with their snow when they remove it.
Well, I know in the past, when I was in the DDA, I mean, who owns the trees downtown? Because we were told just to stack it up around the tree base to make a pathway from the sidewalk to the street. And that worked fine for many, many years. I'm not sure how we got away from that.
No, I think a lot of businesses. Yeah, they use that little green space there to help this stuff.
I mean, it's unfortunate when you shuttle and it's up onto the sidewalk and, right, you don't want to have to stop business or during business hours to go shovel snow again. So I again, there's nowhere for the snow to go, so it's kind of an issue that's unsolvable unless you haul it away. But I mean, I don't really have a solution for it, but I will say that I don't go out there very often, but Les Sealer does, and he complains about the snow that he goes out there and shovels diligently. It gets pushed up immediately, and then it's a safety hazard for people getting in and out of their cars because they don't always walk to the crosswalks that are clear. So I don't know that that's very helpful, but
Could,
I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel either. I think if we just look at other municipalities and see what they're doing with their downtown areas. You know, Adrian's not the only place that has downtown businesses. And if
I-
we researched those and looked into those, how do they do it? How did they work with their business owners? That's a good stepping stone. Just keep the discussion and bring back ideas that we might not have here either.
I think that would be a good idea. I was just going to mention that to see what does Tecumseh do? What triggers Tecumseh to get the equipment out and to remove the snow? They don't do it all the time, but I know it's a lot easier to park downtown Tecumseh, open your door, get out of your car and go to the businesses and spend money there, than it is to, have someone drop me off in the street, me walk around and then have them drive in and park. I do have one other question. This is a neighbor question because this is the only complaint that I get. So there's no curbs in my neighborhood and the city trucks drive across my neighbor's property and plow part of his front lawn rather than the road. So are there any suggestions I can give back to him to do that? Or this happens every year? You guys came out and put the stakes in one year and that fixed it for that year. And now the postal truck drove on there and then slid off into the ditch area and all that other stuff. So it just creates a bigger problem as a result of that.
Yeah, I'll take a look into that. Like you said, we did put those stakes in, I think it was last year, 2 years ago. But our drivers are new from quadrant to quadrant. So they're all responsible for their own quadrants. And every couple of years we have a new driver. And I'm assuming there's a new driver in that quadrant this year. So we'll have to probably put the stakes up so he can kind of learn the route. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
As always, Matt, we appreciate what you and your staff do. Long hours. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I know that Commissioner Moore did want to have a discussion on Monument Park as well, the Civil War Monument before. Just wanted to have a discussion about that and had some thoughts and ideas.
Yes, since this monument was donated to the city by the taxpayers of the residents of Adrian, I thought it'd be good to have money raised by the taxpayers, again, instead of by the city funds. I was doing some research and since this is Black History Month, I'm not sure if Sergeant Henry Stewart, he was a Black American soldier that volunteered for the 54th Massachusetts Regiment that was an all-Black unit, but he was from Adrian, Michigan. And I'm not sure if he's on that monument. And I'm not sure if there's other Black soldiers that served that died during the Civil War that should be on that monument. And I would like to take some time to do more research and figure this out. And I'll be more than happy to help raise funds in the private sector. So it's not costing taxpayers money to restore that.
Commissioner Moore, are you mentioning specifically the restoration of the monument that we're scheduled to vote on later today? Or is this specifically related to Henry Stewart's name being on there?
It's both.
Okay. So
I just don't want to get caught and do a thing that we had before.
Yeah, I agree.
It's got to be clear, concise. This money's for this, it's raised for this, and then it's implemented and done.
One thought I had is I know that we're going to talk about it at the next meeting, but I know that both Commissioner Banky and Commissioner Moore have come to me about possibly wanting to have a 250th committee that gets started up. Maybe that's like a project because like the bicentennial, we raised money to have the bicentennial. Maybe it's something since I know that you both have said that maybe this is something that really highlights Monument Park for the 250th, maybe it is a part of that. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there that that could be an idea. And that if it's a formal committee, that then we do know what's going on and we are aware because we would be getting, it'd be, there'd be open meetings and we would know what was happening if that is where that went.
Because I guess my gut would kind of go along with some of the groans from some of my fellow commissioners here related to getting it done. And maybe we could, my thought would be, let's move forward with the proposal with Flatlanders tonight to do that. And Commissioner Moore, can you share the name of the other individual that you discovered as well from related with Vicksburg, the Congressional Medal of Honor winner?
Oh, sure. During my research, there was Captain William Ward, who was born in Adrian, Michigan. He got a Congressional Medal of Honor during the Battle of Vicksburg, 1863. He's buried in Kansas City, Kansas. And I can't find any monument or recognition in the city of Adrian for this individual. Considering he's a Congressional Medal of Honor winner, I think we should honor this individual.
And he's our only Congressional Medal of Honor winner.
That I've seen,
Yeah.
I've not seen any, during my research, I've not seen any other American soldier receiving the Congressional Medal of Honor winner.
Yeah. So I think that when Commissioner Moore shared those with me, I thought both of those individuals were very important. So I would like to maybe go down the road of, how do we memorialize that? Well, again, and Commissioner Moore, giving him credit because the gentleman from Vicksburg died of natural causes. So he would not be someone based on kind of our standards that we've established to go into Monument Park, but still to be recognized for his valor during the Civil War and the Battle of Vicksburg in one other way. And then also, so Henry Stewart did pass away during the Civil War from what Commissioner Moore reported. So that would be, again, he was from Adrian, but enlisted in the Massachusetts. So it could be a little bit of a stretch for us, but again, I think the appropriateness is there from everything that Commissioner Moore shared.
Yes, I would like to see it go forward with where, let's get it going and let's get this going with Flatlanders. But I don't think, that doesn't mean that things can't be added. That doesn't mean that we can't move forward if we find out, like Commissioner Moore is finding out, about people right now. Maybe it's something that can be added somewhere in there, but I feel like we need to start moving forward and I definitely don't want to wait on, fundraising dollars. I greatly appreciate the offer and I really think that that is a great idea. So the taxpayers don't have that burden, but I think let's move forward and then we could still do those efforts, but keep going right now and then let's add to it and let's make it great. That's my thought.
And I think there was some, discussion, we might as well talk about the F word, fireworks. So as I understand, there's kind of the hope for fundraising for the DDA and River Ragtime Raise and Review, R4, to do something on First Friday night in the downtown setting. But I don't know if that's been, have they fundraised completely or there was just talks about that? And then the cost of that is rather prohibitive to go on the 4th, from my understanding as well. So that was kind of the talk of, do we have it at the 4th? Where is it? Is it, at the fairgrounds so that more people can access that location, that there could be more entertainment is associated with that? So I guess we also, at least in my head, I don't want to step on toes from what other groups are doing or DDA funding being spent outside of the DDA area.
Last time at the last meeting, we brought this up. I brought it up about celebrating the 250th anniversary. And then Commissioner Roberts brought up with the River Raisin Ragtime Review that we wouldn't want to duplicate what they were doing. And so we were looking at something in between of all that. So I really we need to add people and maybe not at this park, but somehow recognize those individual efforts. And I think too, we need to celebrate the anniversary of our country. And I think there's going to be another, and I say balance a lot because I think it's a balance. How do we do that? And we don't necessarily make a decision tonight. I like to go ahead with this and then start fundraising and then let people know if you donate this, even if we can't cover the whole cost, the fundraising will pay as much as we can for the restoration and the fixing of those things, bringing a new plaque, bringing those things out and making more people aware of the significant contributions from people in Adrian.
So just to give a little bit of background, I've recently been asked to and accepted a position on the River Raisin Ragtime Review Board. And in meeting with the director, he has asked and met with the DDA Promotions Committee or Events Committee. And the cost of having fireworks on July 4th is prohibitive to R4 because it is the 250th. There just aren't very many businesses that aren't already spoken for fireworks for that night. So he thought, and we're still working through the DDA and R4 coordinating for Friday night to combine fireworks down at Comstock Park for Friday evening. And the suggestion, the goal, maybe not the goal, the request is that R4 would play historical music while the fireworks are going off. So you see this in other communities such as Detroit and different things where you have, really big band music playing while the fireworks are going off and coordinate with that. No decisions have been made. As far as I know, no money has been raised. We are in the very, very initial, literally this came about 10 days ago. So this is very new and it would be great, I think, in my personal opinion, but I'm not on the DDA board. And so it will really be up to the DDA board to determine if this is something they would like to partner with. So that's where this discussion has come about. So just to let you know.
I would like to add that I had a conversation with Mr. Pembleton, who's the director of the Ragtime Review. And they were normally they do their fireworks the day after the Adrian City has, but since it falls on the July 4th, they weren't going to do that this year. They were trying to coordinate. I talked to him. He had a problem if we moved it to July 4th to the fairgrounds. He said that would not pose a problem to him. I've also talked to the Adrian City Band director. He said that would not be a problem to move the Thursday program to Saturday. I just think for the 250th anniversary, we should have it on July 4th. I'm sure we can raise the cost because I know, according to sources I've talked to, the DDA, that was not their money, it was donated by corporations. So I'm sure that corporation would, we talked to other people, and also we could include Tecumseh, Blissfield, Morenci, Hudson, because I'm not sure if they're going to do their own fireworks. They never have, I don't think. We could invite them to make this a whole county event. So, but right, like you said, this is the staging process. So I like to keep all options at the table.
I guess my suggestion would be, can it be done on Friday night, since it doesn't even sound like the DDA has contacted someone? And
I believe that they have a
Oh,
contract
okay.
with someone
oh, they do
already.
have a contract.
Yes, but haven't paid that contract.
Okay.
But yeah,
Oh,
my understanding is they have a contract.
so there is a contract in place.
Yes, for Friday night.
All right. Yeah, I guess if we have a signed contract with the DDA, that's kind of hard to say. We don't want to.
Well, and the DDA is the DDA. They're going to spend money downtown. I don't want to, I don't feel like I should tell the DDA where to spend their money. But I certainly would be opposed to the DDA funds being moved to the fairgrounds. I don't think that's a good look for anyone who's a business downtown who's paid for that.
To agree. Ugh.
Yeah, it's not appropriate.
Yeah, so I mean, July 3rd, First Fridays will go off as DDA plans with DDA funds. Now, if city wants to put in and not do, not have DDA as a part of it, that would be a separate conversation.
Mayor, does the DDA spend money for the fireworks or is that donated by corporations?
I think it's both. It's both. I mean, because First Friday, we have to put money into that First Friday event as well. So it's there is, and they put it on, like they put the work into it too as well.
Yeah. They're the ones who have, they bring the DJ down there and pay for that. Yeah, it's all DDA funding.
But I agree with Commissioner Roberts that, DDA really does have to keep their money or that needs to stay downtown because that within those confines of, well, if you look on the sidewalk, the blue lines, that's your DDA lines. But I do think that they really have to keep that, but it's not to say, like Commissioner Roberts said, that maybe the city, maybe it is something that we look at for a different time. I don't know. And these are things that I think are great discussion and why I think it would behoove us to, at the next meeting, really talk about, do we have a 250th committee, with some citizens, some business owners, with a couple commissioners. I know some commissioners have come forward expressing interest, and put a committee together. It would just be for, a short time period, but to brainstorm and see what they can do and like what their thoughts are and, bring those ideas to this commission as well. And I think that would be a really great discussion topic for next meeting.
Could we get either Jay from the DDA to provide the information from who they're using for fireworks so that, either someone from the city or someone from the commission could call and say, all right, how crazy are we to ask for a fireworks show on the 4th of July? Is there any availability? I guess, is there an opportunity to get like a bid or to call a few folks to see if it's even possible at this late of time?
Yeah, certainly. I think the discussion item will address that, and we need to address our service clubs. I think this event, it could grow based on what Commissioner Moore said too. This could grow to something that's pretty spectacular if we go down that path and just lean on this whole community to help organize this properly.
Because I think, Commissioner Moore's comments about the fairgrounds at least has the advantage of you have seating, you have parking, you have a lot more availability. So if we're looking, again, it doesn't support people being in downtown during the event, but that doesn't mean that they can't eat here and shop here beforehand and then go out there. But again, we only turned 250 once.
You'll have a lot of parking at Sienna Heights too. I mean, they're closing. They've got all those parking lots there. When I was a kid and they had them at the fairgrounds, we would go park and sit in the fields up there. So there's plenty of places. They're up in the air. You can see them from there too.
And I would say a little safer area with less residential locations for fireworks to fall back down on.
So let's have this discussion next meeting about this 250th committee and get that moving. Does that sound good? Okay. Any other items before we move on? Moving on to the consent agenda, may I get a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Banky with a second from Commissioner Roberts. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Commissioner Banky?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
No.
Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
Commissioner Chesser?
Yes.
Mayor Heath?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Commissioner Moore, is there one item that you are voting no on, or are you voting no on the entire agenda?
Oh, I'm just voting no on the CR 26013. That
Okay,
was,
so pull that off the agenda, Mayor, and revote the consent agenda.
I gotta find it.
Consent agendas must be unanimous because they are routine. If you're not going to vote unanimously, pull it off the agenda.
So may I get a motion to adopt the consent agenda with the removal of CR 26-013?
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Roberts with a second from Commissioner Banky. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Banky?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
yes.
Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
Commissioner Chesser?
Yes.
Mayor Heath?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Zeik?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. So now we are going to ask for a motion for CR 26-013 from Parks and Recreation. It is a resolution to accept a proposal from Flatlanders of Blissfield, Michigan to complete restoration of the Civil War Monument. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Zeik with a second from Commissioner Cheshire. Is there any further discussion or comments on this before we vote?
I think what Commissioner Moore has done and the research that he's done and the context that he's made, I think it's important that we value people who said that they would be willing to donate to the city to pay for this. And I think somehow either we can amend that motion or we can make something happen. I will defer this to Burke. Maybe we put it on next month's consent agenda because I don't want to get caught up in that mess that we went through before with people buying bricks, that whole thing. We got to just stay out of that.
Depending on the vote, well, we can discuss that. Depending on the vote, we can discuss that, but if it passes, then I think we'd be looking at a new project, is what you're saying, right? Yeah, I can help.
If you would, Mayor, the intent of this resolution tonight on the consent agenda, there was a motion made by this commission back on September 15th. Our goal is to be transparent with the public and make sure they understand how we are spending that $15,000 and for it to be easily trackable, for lack of better terms. So the bringing that back through a resolution actually provides more transparency. That's why we brought it back in this path. And I leave it for the commission today.
We have a motion from Commissioner Zeik with a second from Commissioner Cheshire. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Moore?
No.
Commissioner Schwartz?
No.
Commissioner Chesser?
Yes.
Mayor Heath?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Zeik?
Yes.
Commissioner Banky?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving on to our regular agenda under special order, we have special order 1, a public hearing to hear and consider comments regarding the confirmation of the special assessment role for improvements Sarah Street, SAD number 400. At this time, I now call the public hearing to order. Anyone wishing to speak may approach the microphone or speak online. Hearing no comment, I now call this public hearing closed. Moving on to the resolutions. Resolution R 26-005 is from engineering. It is a resolution to confirm the special assessment role for improvements on Sarah Street, SAD number 400. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
I'll second.
Are there any commissioner comments or discussion on this motion, on this resolution? Sorry. We have a motion from Commissioner Roberts with a second from Commissioner Banky. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Chesser,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts.
Yes.
Commissioner Zeik,
Yes.
Commissioner Banky.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution R 26-006 is from Utilities. It is a resolution to authorize utilizing the services of Mercino for emergency bypass pumping. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Support.
Second. Doesn't matter.
Are there any commissioner comments or discussion on this resolution?
I'm not sure if the public had a chance to read our department head's memo that was attached to this resolution, but I would like to publicly thank Will and his staff for the extra work they put in for these two well pumps that went down in early January in very, very cold circumstances. And he was able to figure out a way quickly to get them back up and running. So kudos, man. Just good job. Good job, guys and girls.
We have a motion from Commissioner Roberts with a second from Commissioner Moore. Roll call, please.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts.
Yes.
Commissioner Zeik,
Yes.
Commissioner Banky.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz.
Yes.
Commissioner Chesser.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution R 26-007 is from Police. It is a resolution to authorize the Chief of Police or his designee to apply for the SRT Body Worn Camera Grant. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
Adopt.
Support.
Are there any commissioner comments or discussion on this?
Just again, just for public knowledge, if you get a chance, please take a look at this resolution. Our chief of police has put in that resolution, the amount of money that this will, that body worn cameras will likely cost the city of Adrian over the next 10 years, and it's shocking. So any grants that we can apply for is greatly needed. So this is a service that I believe that our residents expect and deserve, but it's going to cost a lot of money. A lot.
We have a motion from Commissioner Moore with a second from Commissioner Schwartz. Roll call, please. Sorry, I wrote it wrong. Sorry. Commissioner Cheshire is the second. Sorry about that. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Zeik,
Yes.
Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz.
Yes.
Commissioner Chesser.
Yes.
Mayor Heath.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I do apologize, Commissioner Cheshire. I just heard it come from that direction and I was just writing down. Resolution R 26-008 is from Community Development. It is a resolution to adopt the recommendation for denial from the Adrian City Planning Commission for the rezoning of 1212 West Maumee Street. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any commissioner comments or more discussion on this?
Yes, I just go, I know the conversation that we had and the talk of that empty property, and the fact that, you know, you could have residential there. I guess my thought is that's been empty and residential for a long time. And maybe if it turns RO, that could develop that into other types of investment in the city.
Yeah, I also wanted to just comment that as a city, I think that we should show value for counseling offices, and there seems to be no reason to not support this business based on everything that the gentleman had spoke about this evening.
I don't think we're not supporting mental health issues as a city. I think we're taking into account people that researched this, developed it, gave it an informed opinion and brought it to us. So to say that we don't value mental health services and businesses, I think what they were saying is that perhaps there are different areas in the city where this may be more prudent to set up this place of business.
I have to echo Commissioner Schwartz. I would love to see this business in our city, and I'm happy that you'd like to invest in our city. I don't want to look past the research that our experts have done and as our city employees have done about zoning, and I don't want to disregard the concerns of the neighborhood that came and spoke up against this business being in their neighborhood. So
I would like some clarification. So the resolution to adopt the recommendation for denial. So we got a positive and negative going on in the same resolution. If we approve it, obviously we don't change the resolution, or we don't change to RO. If it goes down, if the vote does not go forward, that is not approved, what happens then? Does it go back to the planning commission? Do they automatically have to change it to RO?
No, if you do not agree with this, then we would need to amend our ordinance, our zoning ordinance to accommodate this. So if this fails, then I would ask for a motion authorizing me to redraft the ordinance, and then we would go through that process, which is a first reading, a second reading, and a vote.
But it doesn't go back to the planning commission?
No, planning commission has made their decision.
If you vote yes, you are adopting their recommendation. So if you vote yes, you are adopting the Adrian City Planning Commission's recommendation to deny. If you vote no, you are rejecting their recommendation. Does that make sense? I do know as well, to Commissioner Roberts' point, it's not just the planning commission. This was, since I sat at that planning commission meeting, this was the recommendation of our city staff. Because they also do listen to the city staff and ask for the city staff's recommendation, and they take that into account as well. So, what the planning commission, by their denial, it was the recommendation also of city staff as well. So it wasn't just a committee that was sitting up here. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that and that's clarified as well. This is, just to be very transparent, this is a very difficult vote for me. I know the Burgers personally. I know neighbors of the Burgers personally, so I know both sides very personally. I do agree with Commissioner Zeig. There is a huge need for mental health services, and especially with the focus that they are looking at for this focus. And I couldn't agree more, but it is that tricky, and it's a slippery slope, as was explained to me, that once we do one spot zone, then we're going to get a lot coming for spot zoning. And that is the concern, and as well as just how it sets up for that area. So that is why it just makes it a very tough decision, because it is needed. It is something that we definitely need. But on the same hand, there are reasons these parameters are in place, and these are some of the reasonings behind it. And once you start spot zoning, it can become a snowball effect. So that is where I'm coming from on that. So we have a motion from Commissioner Roberts with a second from Commissioner Moore. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Zeig,
yes.
Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz,
Yes.
Commissioner Chesser,
No.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving on to Resolution R 26-009. It is from administration. It is a resolution to authorize the city administrator to sign a change order for the M52 pedestrian tunnel project. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
Adopt.
Support.
Support.
I'm going to ask for commissioner comments and discussion, but I am going to ask our city administrator, can you just, for transparency for the public, can you please explain the change order?
Certainly, this has been presented to us by the contractor Dunnigan Brothers. Linaway now would be making sure the funds are paid, but the pedestrian tunnel becomes the property of the city of Adrian once completed. Since it's been planned, the price has increased $291,264.35. My name is required to sign this document to allow for the payment. These decisions were made long before, and this allows the project to be completed properly, safely, and as it is intended. But given the cost of everything since 2024, the prices increase, which is requiring this change order. And the change order requires a number of authorized people to sign, which includes the executive director of Linaway now and myself for the city of Adrian.
So are there any commissioner comments or discussion?
And we were going to take this out of the enhancement grant, so it wouldn't be applied to the citizens of Adrian taxes, correct?
Correct. We had further discussion probably about a month ago to make sure no monies were coming out of the city of Adrian's budget or out of any line item to support this effort.
Is it your recommendation that you want us to approve this for you?
Yes, definitely. This needs to be considered by this commission. I would hope the commission would authorize me to sign this document and allow us to complete the project properly and safely.
What would happen if we don't vote yes on this?
Well, this would not allow the change order to occur, which would be the project couldn't be completed as designed, which potentially could put us in a situation where it wouldn't be safe. So the tunnel would start, I'm assuming, go further than it already has. It would be completed. We would be probably liable as that would be our property. And I couldn't tell you exactly what would occur afterwards, besides the fact that it wouldn't be completed properly because the funds wouldn't be there to support it.
And I hate to say it, but if we don't complete what the funds were earmarked for, we lose those funds.
Certainly, there's funds coming from multiple government agencies and levels of government, and we had made a number of promises along the way that we would comply with that agreement. And now there's a change order, and that happens in business all the time. So that's where we're at today. It's just more of a topic because the tunnel discussion in our community.
And further down the road, if all of a sudden we change and we don't do this, the next time we apply, I would think those funds, that could be part of the decision whether we get another grant form or not, because we promised to do this, we didn't, then we didn't hold our word and we didn't do it again.
Yeah, I think in a roundabout way, I was implying that. I just don't know the perception of those that we apply with in the future, but our reputation is at stake.
We have a motion from Commissioner Moore with a second from Commissioner Schwartz. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz.
Yes.
Commissioner Chesser.
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts.
Yes.
Commissioner Zeik.
Yes.
Motion carried.
We will now begin public comment. This is general public comment. It does not have to be something that was on the agenda tonight, but it certainly can be. We will begin inside the city chambers first. Just to reiterate, there's a 3-minute time limit. And for the record, please state your name and place of residence. Once we have exhausted all comment inside the city chambers, we will then open it up to the Zoom participants. We will begin now.
My name is Don Taylor. I'm a resident of Adrian. I want to talk about snow removal. From 2013 to 2022, I was a managing partner of 3 buildings downtown that were purchased by a group of local investors. I have plenty, in fact, I earned a master's degree in snow shoveling. And Matt, I think I'm correct in what I'm about to say. The city plows the streets as soon as they can get to them downtown. We business owners clear the snow in front of our businesses, put as much snow as we can around light poles, underneath benches, out of the way, and try to get some of the snow that the city did push up where people can get through. Then, as a couple of days later, we would get a notice that said, okay, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Tuesday. At midnight tonight, the city's going to come in and clear out the gutter along the street. So push all of your snow into the street. We were never told to push our snow into the street before then, Bob, Commissioner, I'm sorry. So we would, muster the forces. Sometimes I get some of my tenants to help, and throw the snow into the street. And 50% of the people did that, maybe 40% of the people did, maybe 30% of the people did that. Tiffany understands this very clearly. A lot of people, I drove around today, I drove around Tecumseh. They have that problem, but not quite as bad as we do. Unless the people throw the snow out into the street so that the city can come back through and get it out of there, it's just going to be the same situation. And you've got half the people who don't pay any attention to doing it. So, I'm not on the DDA, I'm not on anything that could influence this, but I think we need to get our downtown businesses to be aware of what they're supposed to do. Maybe they need communication a little bit earlier than they sometimes get it. Because I can remember sometimes at 5 o'clock at night saying, okay, Sharon, I'm going downtown. Where are you going? I got my shovel. I'm going downtown. 3 hours later, we're done. But so I think it's a communication issue as much as it is a hard work type issue. So, and maybe you should just have everybody pay an extra fee and do it for them. I don't know. It's a thought. But we do, the downtown business owners do pay a pretty good chunk of money to make sure they have those services. So anyway, thank you.
Hearing no more public comment inside the chambers, we will now open it up to the Zoom participants. Hearing no more public comment, before we go to commissioner comments, our city administrator, Chad Baugh, needed to make a comment.
Yes, I failed to update the public earlier in this meeting today. On February 9th, Chief Embrick and his team will be at City Hall. We're going to close City Hall from 1 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. for some in-house training. We have dealt most recently with a number of crisis type situations with people inside the building. So we need to train our city employees how to react and respond as those things can become more aggravated. So from 1 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. at City Hall is going to be closed for that training. Employees will be there. Just be mindful that there will be training inside. If it's an extraordinary circumstance, I'm sure one of us will see you and address your issue, but just be mindful of that. Thank you.
And that was Monday, February 9th, correct?
That's correct.
All right, now we will begin commissioner comments.
I would just like to clarify my position on the monuments and going ahead and things like that. I think we need to do some due diligence if we're going to get people in the private sector that are willing to help pay for that we should make that a possibility. And not in what I said before. Maybe it won't cover the whole thing, but you give us this money, we do this, boom, there it is. I want to clarify that vote. And the second thing, I really want to commend Administrator Ball, the communication that we've had from him and the work that's done and the transparency now that is in the city of Adrian, I think has done nothing but brought a more positive impact to all the things that are done. And it's just so much easier to work in the condition where we all know everything that's going on. And I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your Friday reports. They're thorough. You have a question, you call back. The public needs to know that you are exceeding the expectations right now.
I'll ditto that too, Commissioner Schwartz. That's right. And Chief, I was going to ask, any guys that play bad guys on Monday?
Michelle Dewey, our marketing coordinator, has put together this year's city services brochure, and I handed it out at last week's academy, and I brought a few copies tonight. If you are interested, if any commissioners would like them, it is available both online and at City Hall. So you're welcome to grab some. Also, Matt, I would like to tell you how much it's appreciated that you not only did your presentation, you're doing the Parks and Rec presentation this week, but the ones in between that were here in City Hall. You took time out of your day and came and made sure that our audiovisual was working appropriately, because I don't know how to use it. And I really appreciate you doing that. So you're going above and beyond too. So thank you.
And since he's sitting in the audience today, I do want to recognize our building official, Dan Black. He is amazing, and we are just getting nonstop positive comments about how great Dan has been to work with as a building official, and we just greatly appreciate all the time and energy and extra work you are putting in. He comes to the planning commission meetings. He doesn't sit on them up here, but he comes to them. He comes to all of them and just really cares. And that is the feedback that I'm getting from the public, and just greatly appreciate you trying to work with them, even when it might be a difficult situation. They've greatly appreciated your concern and care in those situations. So thank you very much. I also want to let everybody know that there is an event next Sunday, February 8th, Together We Stand. It is at Christ Temple Ministries at 3, I don't remember, 3? At 3 p.m. And it's a great event. I go every year, and it is just bringing many communities together, celebrating Black History Month, and just that collaboration. It's just a great event and a great time. So that's next Sunday, February 8th at 3 p.m. at Christ Temple Ministries, which is out on Deerfield Road, if you don't know where that is. Also want to encourage you to stop by and look at the display when you are in City Hall for Black History Month, the display that was put up. Geraldine Boynton was one of the main people that was putting that together. I'm not sure who else did, but had reached out and asked for a table to be put up for their display that they always put up every single year in our City Hall, and greatly appreciate that time and energy and effort that is put into that. So we'd love to have you stop by and take a look. It's always an amazing display.
One more comment. If we have a very good orchestra, the Adrian Symphony, it's playing February 13th. If you've never been to a concert at Adrian College, I highly recommend it, because it's a world-class orchestra that we have in the city of Adrian.
May I get a motion to adjourn?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.